What is good, everyone? Welcome into another episode of Ain't No Seats. Huge bounce back win for Kansas today over a top 10 Oklahoma team. Obviously had a tough one down in Orlando earlier this week. We kind of got on here and melted down and just talked about how Bill Self always figures it out and gets the guys to buy in. And that's exactly what happened today. I mean, turnovers were a huge issue. They only turned it over twice today. Their stud point guard had 8 assists, 0 turnovers. And obviously the big three were great again, but AB top 10 win for KU. What are your overall takeaways from KU's win inside the Fieldhouse today?
It was refreshing to see. I think we all needed to see a somewhat comfortable win, and it got that way at the final 10 minutes of the game. We needed a comfortable win against a good team after what we saw Wednesday and what we've seen other times throughout the year. It's just they can be so frustrating. They can look like the best team in the country, and sometimes there's really no in between. But you mentioned at the top 2 turnovers as a team today, just 2. That's been the biggest thing I feel like all year, even in games we've won. And I can't remember who tweeted it. I wish I could throw some credit their way, but when we lost Wednesday, someone tweeted out that the 3 teams we lost to, Marquette and our 2 teams, I guess, Marquette and UCF, they're both top 10 in the country in turnovers forced. And that obviously, shut us down in both of those games. But yeah, I mean, lots to talk about, I guess. But overall, turnovers were way down and the stars showed out, which is kind of what we have to expect nowadays. But good to see a KU win that wasn't down to the wire and frustrating for 40 minutes.
Yeah, and I think we've seen this a lot throughout our lives watching Kansas basketball, where they kind of have a stinker on the road and then they play a couple days later and you're somehow a little nervous, but you never should be because Bill just gets the guys ready to go. And I'm sure the couple days of practice before this game weren't very fun for them, but obviously it works and just shows he's the best coach in the country. Like a 2-day, 3-day turnaround, they get a top 10 team at their own place. And Allen Fieldhouse is just incredible. You could get any team in the country right now in that building and you would feel confident KU winning comfortably. So we talk about it all the time, but how blessed are we to have Allen Fieldhouse for big games like this?
I mean, it honestly feels like a cheat code. Like it truly does. It's a different team. And I know obviously, especially in college sports, home court advantages really mean a lot to a lot of places. But it's not too often you can go into every single year and pretty much chalk up that KU is going to go. I don't even know how many home games they play, 20, 25. They're going to go 19-1 in those home games throughout the year, pretty much at worst. I mean, it probably happened more recently than I can remember, but when was the last time we lost 2 games at Allen in the same year? Like, it just doesn't really happen. And
I'm trying to think. Texas pumped us that one year. I remember. I don't know if that team lost multiple. I know didn't their team lose
I think they did.
First game in Big 12. I don't know how many. We'd have to go look at that, but I know exactly what – I mean, we talk about it all the time. Big 12 play. We talked about it the other night. Like, if they go 5-4, 4-5 on the road, that gives them a great chance to win the league because you're probably, like, worst case, you're going 7-2 at the Fieldhouse in Big 12 play, but you're likely going 8-1, 9-0. I mean, they're going to play top 10 or ranked teams at home multiple times this year, and you're going to feel confident because it's Allen Fieldhouse. It's Bill Self. He's lost, like, 15 or so games there in his career, and he's been here for 20 years now. So it's incredible. Obviously, we got to talk about the studs today. Obviously, Hunter, 24-14, and he didn't shoot it. I know he doesn't shoot a ton of threes, but he put up 3 threes today, didn't hit any, which is kind of out of the norm for him. He usually has been knocking down jumpers all season long. He added 5 block shots, but 24-14 for Hunter Dickinson. He's obviously a National Player of the Year candidate. What did you think about his performance?
He looked fine to me. He looked healthy. I know there were some issues with the knee on Wednesday and throughout the week. I guess it happened in the TCU game, but I mean, 24-14 in a college basketball game is going to be like, I mean, it seems like it's routine for him at this point based off what we've seen, but we can't like forget how special those numbers are in college basketball. Like, we just don't see that. It brings back memories of like Nick Collison, but that's over 20 years ago. So yeah, I mean, Hunter is what he is. He's going to be a walking 20-10, at least it feels like at this point. And yeah, I'm glad he's on a winning team now. He's He's the kind of guy that I think college basketball needs because no one likes him except for the team that he's on. But he's consistently going to like shut those people up. And it's
He loves
much
it.
for the sport when he's on a team and a program with, the notoriety that Kansas has compared to, I'm not saying Michigan's bad. They've been to 2 championship games in the past, 15 years. But I mean, come on, like if he's in a top 5, top 3, whatever we want to argue program in the country, it's going to be awesome to watch all year, especially in March when more people tune in and more people are they're like, oh, I remember this guy. He's the guy that got in a fight or was a big douchebag. We played him against Indiana. Like he's fun and
and we might get him
the reason for how far this team goes. Like, I mean, I don't know. We've had games where he goes for 20 and 10 and we don't play very well, but at the end of the day, it's you need your stars to be stars, and more often than not, he's a star every night.
Yeah, and we might have him for another year, so who knows? So the country's going to potentially have to hate him for another year. We obviously will love him. Speaking of the 0 turnovers, we got to talk about something else. They went 17 for 18 from the free throw line today, which is pretty good. And that brings me to Kev, who had 21. He went to the bench during the game. He looked extremely banged up, like in a lot of pain, even going to the scores table, walking into the game, limping pretty badly, and obviously gutted it out. Hunter was dealing with a knee issue also. Both of them go for 20 plus, just ho-hum 20 plus like they do every night, which is so crazy. Like we have 2 of the top 3 best players in the country right now on the same team, and we kind of get down on this team. But yeah, Kev goes for 21, 10 for 11 from the line. I guess just talk about his performance and how consistent he's been along with Hunter.
It's crazy. He's going to frustrate a lot of people in the Big 12 with how often he goes to the line, but he is so damn good at drawing fouls when getting to the bucket. And I remember last year there were times he'd go to the free throw line. I wasn't confident at all that he was knocking down 2, but he's improved that. I don't know the exact number from last year, but I know he's floating around 85, 86% this year after today. And for your guards to be able to shoot near 90% from the free throw line, plus shoot like 8 to 10 free throws a game, that's a free 10 points. And this team has shown multiple times that they might have to win games in the 60s. Like that's how they beat UConn. So if you can just get a free 10 points from free throws from one of your wings, like Jesus, man, it's not gonna be explode. My cat won't shut the fuck up, dude.
I've heard that for 10 minutes.
I was hoping it wouldn't come in through the mic. Good
He
Lord.
is he's 91 for 108 from the line this year. So he's at 84%.
Yeah.
Just outstanding. He's obviously put in a ton of work this summer because his jumper looks a lot better. He kind of still has that hitch in his shot, but knocks down clutch free throws, clutch jumpers. Like he's been as good as you could ask. There is no way I could have ever envisioned him doing what he's doing. I know he was going to have a big year because it's Bill, and the last handful of years where Bill needs someone to be good, like Oach, and last year Jay Will ends up happening. So I knew Kev would have a good year. I didn't think 20 plus, which you even said it earlier in the week. Like not many people have done that under Bill Self. It's been one guy besides Kev. Or what'd you say the other night?
Yeah, it's either 1 or 2. I can't remember if Simeon's up there.
But yeah, there's been a select few, obviously. But yeah, we got to talk about KJ too. He obviously plays with a ton of energy. I know our boy Dewan missed maybe the easiest layup of all time, and KJ got the stick back offensive board finish and was just going nuts, and it just gets Allen Fieldhouse going. Does it every game. He plays so hard, and it's infectious, and I love watching him play, and I know he's one of your favorites on this team and probably one of your favorites ever. You've kind of been hyping him up for a couple of years now. So just talk about what his energy does for this team and how good he was today. Double-double, 15 points, 10 boards, and he didn't miss a free throw.
Yeah, that first half was special. It was like a 10-minute stretch where he was clearly the best player on the court and got every ball. I think at one point it was 15, 7, and 2 with like 3 minutes left in the first half that he had. And he didn't do much in the second half, at least scoring-wise. But how often have we come on here and talked about we needed KJ Adams to figure out how to rebound the ball? Like it feels like there are games where he has 1 or 2 and you look at the stat sheet and you're like, what? There's no way that the 4, even last year is the 5 when Jay Will would double his rebound output compared to KJ. A double-double tonight, 10 rebounds. I know there was another game recently. I don't think it was Wednesday, maybe Saturday against whoever the hell we beat. TCU. I know he had a handful of rebounds. again, if this team's going to win games in the 60s and 70s, rebounding is going to be key because A, you don't give them the second chance easy layup, but B, it's just an extra possession for you. So he's always going to be the dude. He's not going to go 16 or 15 and 10 every single game, but the energy is what I love because even though Hunter Dickinson likes to talk shit, I don't know how much energy he's bringing on a play-to-play basis. DeJuan Harris is the quietest dude in college basketball, and Kevin McCullough, if he's not, complaining about a no call on a foul or a foul that he committed, he's not really saying a lot either. So if KJ can be the emotional leader and like kind of the dude that fires everyone up every single night, I think that could be a perfect role. But he's so much more than that, dude. He's gonna be one of the most underappreciated legends at KU of all time, like fan favorite, but never was a superstar. He's the best, and it's clear he's a Bill Self guy. There might be a new Bill Self guy, by the way. I know you said, earlier you kind of were late to the party to watch the game. I don't know if you saw early on with Johnny Furphy. Did you see the clip?
No.
Okay, so there was like a 50-50 play. He knocked it up, knocked it away, and then there was like a fight down on the baseline for the ball, and it was off Oklahoma. So forced the turnover. Oklahoma calls timeout or goes to a TV timeout. Bill Self comes off the bench. I've never seen this unless it was like an Elite Eight, Final Four, national championship, or when he beat Mizzou in 2012. Both hands in the air, like fist pumping, screaming. He's like, "Come on, let's go!" Like about Furphy forcing that turnover. It was the craziest mid-game reaction I've ever seen out of Bill Self in 20 plus years at Kansas.
Especially that early in a game.
Yeah, that's that early in a game, this early in the season. It's January 13th I need to today, see that. And he was that fired up. I know Ryan quoted it if you want to go look at it. But yeah, Bill was it was so cool to see.
Because he knows we need that. Bill knows KU needs that from like a fifth guy. Maybe that's something to get El Marco going too. Furphy playing that hard. We kind of talked about that all year. Like Furphy comes in and plays, dude. Like he's not afraid of the moment. He'll go crash the boards. He'll get on the floor for a loose ball. He's not afraid to put up jumpers. Like I thoroughly enjoy watching him play. Jamari too. I know Jamari's not playing a ton right now, but Furphy, he's not afraid of the moment, and he's obviously a true freshman, younger guy. So it's really refreshing to see that. And I'm sure Bill, that's like, I'm thinking Bill like late second half in a game where he's bent over, kind of clapping to get a stop. I can't think of the last time I've seen him do that early in a game. That's pretty wild, but they've been hyping him up since the offseason. So I'm sure that's super refreshing for the staff to see, but and I was just thinking like OU, obviously a top 10 team. And some people will probably say it's not technically a top 10 win because they lost to TCU this year, but this is a team that's right next to KU analytics wise. I think they're one spot below KU, KenPom, and I just can't stop harping on the 2 turnovers thing. Like that is just insane to me. KU turned it over 2 times in 40 minutes against the 15th ranked adjusted defense on KenPom, a Porter Mosier coach team who his teams just get after it defensively. That's just what they do. That's how he coaches. 2 turnovers in 40 minutes where I'm sure Bill was on DeJuan's ass after the UCF game. I mean, and we talked about it. He's been trying to fit passes in tight windows. Stuff's been getting deflected. Today he goes 8 assists, 0 turnovers. And Bill Self was just so good at coaching, but he's so good at getting guys like pushing the right buttons. Everyone always talks about that as former players, how he can coach. He knows how to coach everyone certain different ways, like whether he's hard on you, whether he kind of just chills out. But I'm sure he was on DeJuan, and DeJuan comes out 8 assists. I know he didn't score it, but 0 turnovers. And they have 2 the whole game against the 15th ranked defense, according to KenPom. I just cannot get over that. And that is obviously the recipe to win Big 12 games, especially teams that defend. So I can't get over that they only turned it over twice in 40 minutes.
Yeah, that's crazy for any team really in college basketball, let alone this one based off what we've seen over the last 2 months. But one other thing with KJ and DeJuan both, it looked like in the first half they were kind of making it a point for KJ to bring the ball up the court and kind of start the offense. Whether if it was off a rebound, most of the time it was off a rebound. They weren't really inbounding it to him to bring it up. But offense looked really good. And I know Bill said that multiple times this year where the offense clicks a little better when KJ can start the offense, bring it up the court. And he's obviously not a full-time point guard. He has no future in like pro ball as a point guard, but to have flexibility from your 4, I mean, it's like Draymond Green light. It really kind of is. He does everything. He has no jump shot, but he's, there's going to be nights where he gets 15 points strictly off of hustle and he dominates on defense and can guard any position. Like someone just commented his free throw shooting. He went 5 for 5 from the line tonight. I think they said he was 53% on the year coming into today. And it's been better as of late. I think he started the year 25% and he's been, much better, but 5 for 5. I mean, man, I just love KJ. And then more on Zawan. We can't have what we had last episode and past episodes on him and then not pump him up a little bit today.
8-0.
8-0 is crazy. That's all
that matters with him.
Guard. That is all that matters. And he looks more comfortable.
He's not going to shoot. No. He's not going to shoot jumpers. He's not going to force it shooting wise, but we can't have him forcing it from a facilitating standpoint, because that's what he does. He gets guys involved. He gets guys open looks. If he's turning it over, it really limits us offensively, because like I said, he's not going to score. I think you kind of saw that not that he's not going to score, he's not going to shoot. At UCF, they ran that zone and it's kind of just him and Elmarko passing it around the perimeter, and no one wanted to shoot, which was terrifying, because a lot of our players are upperclassmen. But if he's turning it over, that really limits us offensively. I know you want to talk about the spacing. I feel like I know there was pictures of KJ Adams kind of just sitting on the perimeter, no one guarding him. And I know you still have some thoughts on us offensively. So,
yeah, one more thing on Dajuan too. He took 10 shots today. That's the second most he's taken in a game this year, next to the Kentucky game when he was just on an all-time heater. But yeah, three for 10, so not great. You'd like to see that improve. He missed a bunny layup, which was frustrating, but KJ put it right back in, so it didn't matter. But he's going to make those 95% of the time, if not more.
Juan wanted KJ to get the double-double. He would have finished with 9 if he didn't get that. That made it 10.
Yep. So, Furphy, let me pull up what he did shooting wise today. He 3 for 8 from the floor, 1 for 4 from 3. I don't really know what to expect numbers wise out of him, but I think having him on the court helps dramatically with the spacing issue. He's not afraid to shoot the ball. I mean, he took 4 of them today. You'd probably say 30, 35, 40%, somewhere in there would be fine for him as a 5th option. But yeah, if we could just get a couple guys to hit shots, because Hunter is not going to shoot 50% from 3 all year long, or 60% from 3, whatever he was to start the year. And you're starting to see that go down now. Today he was 0 for 3. So that's going to take some more pressure and put it on the guards to hit those shots, whether it's Dajuan, Kevin hit one late, or Furphy himself, the Furf dog, as I will call him the rest of his career in Kansas and in the NBA.
You have to start him all season. Unless Elmarko makes crazy strides in practice, because like you said, you got to have a deadly knockdown shooter that you have to worry about. And Elmarko, we're definitely not giving up on Elmarko. We think he's going to be a great player, but it's a guy out there that you don't have to worry about from a shooting standpoint. Like, you don't really have to get out and contest. He's not really beating anyone off the dribble. So if you have a guy out there that can shoot, then you have a point guard that can facilitate, get him good looks, and defenses are going to give Kevin and Hunter all the attention in the world. So yeah, you got to have shooters. Can you pin the comment at 316 from Gabriel? And you can go ahead and answer this one first.
Yeah, I got my answer.
I guess we can read off the question just for audio listeners, but he asked, chances you think we drop one of the next 2 on the road, which we're at Oklahoma State on Tuesday in Stillwater, and then we're in Morgantown Saturday.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident going into those 2, to be honest with you. I don't see this team losing 2 like truly bad road games in a week span. I guess anything can happen though. If there was one that I'd be less surprised to see us lose, probably Oklahoma State. They're a little bit better in analytics. I think Ken Palm has us as a 6-point favorite in Stillwater and then a 10-point favorite in Morgantown. So I don't know. I don't see us losing to UCF and either Oklahoma State or West Virginia in the same week. It's just, this team's too good to do that. And I know it's their road games. They're semi-tough environments when they're good. I don't know how it'll be this year when they're not so good, but I don't know. I feel pretty confident in 2-0. I know you have some hesitation. Do you still feel that hesitation? Do you think we go into Stillwater whenever Tuesday? Is that when it is? Yeah, Tuesday.
Yeah, which I was just looking at that and I was thinking, like, That's a lot better than a big Monday, like a 2-day turnaround when Kev and Hunter might be a little nicked up still. You get an extra day of rest. I could just see a ugly big Monday game in Stillwater, but I don't see us going into either building and just dominating. I hope we do, but two tough environments. And we just have bad pass at those arenas in Stillwater and Morgantown. So I can't just say Kane, man. Yes, we do always play shitty in Stillwater. It doesn't even matter how good they are or aren't. There's been I know Frank's year. I was with Tyrell the other night. We were talking about 2008. That team only lost 3 games. They played like shit in Stillwater. We always play bad. I don't know what it is. I know Bill coached there, but I still think West Virginia is a little better than we think. I know analytics wise,
Well, let me
they're
feed you
terrible.
some stats about them. West Virginia ranks 355th in the country in steal percentage on defense, so they're not really going to turn us over too much. It wouldn't appear. I mean, things happen. They're 338th in total turnover percentage on defense, and then Oklahoma State's 222nd in turnover percentage on defense. So these teams they're not two squads that are going to come out and force, hopefully not 15 or 20 turnovers, which have cost us multiple times this year and have made other games closer than they needed to be throughout the year. But
yeah,
I know West Virginia has some talent. I don't know if God, I can't even think of his name.
Jesse Edwards.
Jesse Edwards, is he playing?
I don't
He
know. I
didn't
don't know what his
play.
injury status is, but I know they
Yeah.
have a guard, Raekwon Battle. I'm pretty sure
Mm-hmm.
he's the guard that played against K-State in the tournament last year in the first round. Maybe I'm wrong. You guys can correct me in the comments, but that's why I say that about West Virginia, because he's only played in 5 games and they were recent. So kind of changes them a little bit. He's a guy that's averaging 20 plus right now. So think that makes them a little better team. They're only like 5-point dogs today against Texas, who Texas is ranked. I don't know how good they are either yet, but I still think at least one of those games is going to be tight. Would you agree, or do you think we kind of control both of them?
I don't think we blow both teams out. I could see us blowing out one of them. West Virginia, I think we could probably run off the court based off of everything I just said about their turnover numbers on defense. Not very good at all. They force like 5 a game, which is bad.
And then Okie State, just a tough building.
Yeah.
But they have 2 good guards, obviously former Jayhawk Bryce Thompson, and then Javon Small.
Can we talk about that?
I mean, I don't know. For us, for some reason, it is for us.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just anti-Oklahoma State right now, but they just I remember a game maybe last year when we went and played there. It was their first sellout in like 4 or 5 years. And I know COVID was mixed in with that, but like, I don't know. Maybe it's just like every other arena in the conference where it sucks unless KU plays, but I don't know, man.
We just got a comment that said, can anyone else hear anything? So can people hear us? Anyone in the comments? Drop a yes.
I would hope so.
Or do we just sound as bad as ESPN Plus announcers? Because
if everyone else is commenting like stuff that we're talking about, I got to assume that they can hear us, but I don't know. Yeah.
Okay. Kirk Heinrich in the chat.
We could talk about ESPN Plus though. It's just, it's not even year 1. Like, I'm willing to give some of these services a trial run to figure it out. We've had games on ESPN Plus for like 4 or 5 years. Like, how can we go into a game at Allen Fieldhouse where ESPN films probably 40 games a year between men's and women's on ESPN or ESPN Plus? It's not like it's this crazy, arena where you can't get audio. It sounded like I was watching a game in the Northeastern Conference or something. Like there was 0 audio for the first 5 minutes or however long it was. The commercials.
How do they not fix it?
One pill can kill. There was a commercial for Kate's. I think it was heating and cooling today. I could be wrong. And there was like that commercial would play. And then there was a second commercial, just the audio playing underneath it going at the same time. And the first time I was like, yeah, whatever. Like, that happens. It's a weird game streaming, whatever. I thought it honestly could have been on my end. And then I noticed it 2 or 3 other times throughout the game. And it's just like, figure it out, ESPN. You're supposed to be the kings of broadcasting sports. You've been doing it as a company for longer than I've been alive. Like, figure it out. And if we can't, like I know we have no say in this, and we're screwed regardless because games are going to continue to be on ESPN Plus probably a huge deal with the Big 12. We can't have as many games. There can't be a top 10 matchup with the production being that bad, and everyone knows it's that bad. Like, I'm sorry. It just can't be a thing. And if it has to be like college football where you don't release the game times and TV schedules until the week before, do that. But it's awful for KU fans and Oklahoma fans today having to watch a top 10 matchup on that bullshit app. But B, for everyone, and no one else out around the country is going to watch that. If that game's on CBS or if that game's on ESPN2 or something, there's going to be big personalities tweeting about that game. This one was going to be watched by nobody but the two fan bases unless it was close at the end. And I've tried to give ESPN Plus as long as possible to just like, I get it. It's not ideal. It's not that bad. But the last two times they've been on there, Wednesday and today, it's been pretty damn bad. And like, it just gets annoying. Like, I shouldn't have to be annoyed with the commercials and the broadcast and the everything that goes into an ESPN Plus production, you know? Like,
Can you tell me how maybe the best basketball program in the country has played all 3 conference games on that app?
Last week was on TCU. Or, I'm sorry, last week was on CBS.
Oh,
100%. Because Raptory, TCU,
yeah. So,
but I'm sure we have. I'm sure we have more coming up. Like, is West Virginia going to be on ESPN Plus? I don't know why it wouldn't be. Can't imagine that game was going to be big. Let's see.
So I just went through history at Stillwater since 08, which it's kind of wild because we talk about 08, obviously one of the best KU teams ever, and then 2010 we lose there, which that is one of the most stacked KU rosters of all time. And then we lost there 3 straight years, which I don't know if I even remember that, but 14, 15, and 16. And then we lose 18 and 21. What was 18?
Sounds right.
I thought we lost Frank's year.
I know we lost 18 because it was one of the first times Bill had lost both games to a conference.
Yeah, it was the Final Four team, and he was pissed. He got teed up. I think it was Higgins. Like, you could see him mouthing like "fucking awful." That's fucking awful. So yeah, we've lost 7 times since 08, which I guess. We probably played there 14, 15 times since then.
It's hard to say because there were a few years like before Mizzou and A&M and all those schools left. We probably only went to Oklahoma State once every 2 years, I would think. So we weren't playing everybody twice.
That's what's crazy. They're talking about ESPN Plus in the app or in the comments. Like, how do they not make changes?
Right. It's because this isn't a new ESPN,
issue. Worldwide leader of sports.
I've got some good news.
They can't get better announcers. And all right, go ahead. I just know playoff football is starting right now, and I'm so pumped.
We'll get out of here quick. Saturday against West Va is on ESPN Plus, of course, but then we don't have a game on ESPN Plus until end of February against BYU, which of course is another good matchup. And I think that's it.
Nice.
Yeah. So could be worse. Getting them out of the way early, I guess, but.
Do you have any more thoughts on the game today, or do you want to talk about just KU going forward? I guess we could talk about like how much different our mindsets are compared to the game after they lost to UCF compared to winning today. But I guess it is Allen Fieldhouse. You expect to win these games, but have you changed it all? I know the offense can be weird. The spacing's pretty weird. I know the analytics do not like us at all offensively. What are we at now on Ken Palm?
He updated it a lot quicker today. We're up to 38th on offense, 38th overall. So,
which is wild because we have 2 of the best scorers in the country.
I know,
but
that's kind of my point. When I was ranting and going nuts the other day, like, it shouldn't be a bad offense. There's way too much talent, but it's like the fit of those dudes together cause issues sometimes, and they just look awful. I was definitely emotional after that loss on Wednesday, so. Maybe there are some things I wish I didn't freak out as much about. It's just a really annoying loss. But I don't think anything's really changed the offense today. It was pretty much KJ, Hunter, and Kevin. And that's kind of been how it is all year. Yeah. We had 4 bench points. The bench took 3 total shots. 2 of those points were on an alley-oop to Parker Brown, which was it was a sick play. I'm not going to lie. That one got me clapping. And then El Marco had the little step back jumper towards the end of the second half. So like, it's there's not a lot of options. We've said it. We need our studs to be studs, but I don't know if my concerns about the offense are solved at this point. And I
Yeah, and
don't
I think
really know. It would probably take Furphy proving that he can knock down threes pretty consistently for me to feel a lot better about the team as a whole. It doesn't have to be Furphy. I guess it could be
that's
any.
all I care about with Furphy. We're not asking for
Mm-hmm.
10, 15 points a night. You're not going to get that. You got two guys scoring 20 plus a night. We need Furphy to just be a knockdown jump shooter, a guy that defenses have to respect. It's going to help out the spacing. But God, KU's beaten so many good teams this year. Oklahoma, Marquette, or Jesus, not Marquette, Tennessee, Kentucky, UConn. Their resume is
A
crazy,
lot of
and they
wins.
still like the UCF. The meltdown was warranted, and that's why I think the live episodes are the best. Like you get your raw reactions, like when we did,
Yeah, dude.
when we recorded after the streak ended in whatever year that was, 2019, and then when Selection Sunday last year, when Chris Reynolds just fisted us, that was electric. So that's why it's fun to just get the raw reactions. But the meltdowns are warranted. You're up 16 against a really bad team. I don't care if it's on the road. The offense was terrible, especially late. So it's beautiful to have Allen Fieldhouse because you come back against a top 10 team. Now you win. Now the guys are pumped. The guys have a lot of confidence, and now they go into two buildings this coming week where they've kind of struggled. So it's nice to have some confidence going forward. Hopefully they're healthy. I don't, do you, I know I just asked you this, but do you have any more on this game or on this team or the season?
No, not really, but I'll finish this off here with one question for you. Give me your Super Bowl matchup, I
Okay.
guess, / like a sleeper if you have one for the playoffs in general. I guess mine kind of fits both, but if you have a sleeper and or your Super Bowl matchup, feed me.
My sleeper in the AFC would be Cleveland for sure. You got a good coach. You got a vet quarterback that's won one before. You got a nice run game, good O-line, pretty good defense. I think if they can survive today, there's a good chance they play in Baltimore next week, which is a divisional game. They know each other well. Obviously, Flacco playing against his old team in Baltimore. So that would be my sleeper in the AFC. Obviously, I think this will be a trendy one, but the Rams and the NFC, I don't see them making it to the Super Bowl, but I think they can make some noise. I have them beating Detroit tomorrow night, and then maybe they play San Francisco. Obviously, it just depends who else wins, but a lot of the thing people talk about a lot with the Rams is just their special teams and how that's going to come back to haunt them. They've had issues kicking it. So I would probably go. I hate doing this because this is so chalky, but I'd go Baltimore, San Francisco, which I know that's chalky, but it would be a regular season rematch, and I think it would be an electric matchup. 2 weeks to prepare. Shanahan still hasn't won one, so wouldn't really hate seeing either of those teams win it. I don't really dislike San Fran and Baltimore. I like watching Lamar Jackson play football. So I obviously want the Chiefs to go. We're both diehard Chiefs fans. I think we easily could, and we could beat any team in the AFC. But yeah, those would be my sleepers and Super Bowl prediction. And I'd have San Fran winning that game.
I've got a sleeper Super Bowl.
Okay.
And some may say they're not a sleeper based off of their pedigree. The Kansas City Chiefs currently are a Super Bowl or a sleeper to go to the Super Bowl, in my mind. I'm not kidding. I mean, look at if you look at the odds, if you look at anything,
no one believes in that.
No, and that's perfect. That's fine. I think that tonight they'll play dominant. I think they dominate tonight, and maybe it's just because I haven't seen the actual Chiefs team in 2 weeks, and it's just more time removed of getting frustrated and realizing that holy shit, maybe they might not be as good as they have been in years past. But when I look at especially playoff football, who's got the better head coach? Who's got the better quarterback? And is your defense good? I mean, honestly, you could make an argument that the Chiefs have the best coach in football, the best quarterback in football, and the second
One of the best defenses.
third best defenses in the playoffs left.
Oh, it's up there.
Yeah, I know they're second in total defense, second in points per game on defense. So yeah, I like the Chiefs. I know I'm a homer. I know it's going to come up bad. It's going to look really stupid when Miami pulls the upset tonight. And then in the NFC, I'm with you. I got the Rams going to the Super Bowl. Actually, same argument. They've got, in my opinion, maybe the best quarterback in that conference, maybe the best coach in that conference. and their defense statistically hasn't been great, but you get Aaron Donald just going off, he completely changes everything. And he's, won a Super Bowl before. I just have a weird feeling they're going to go on a little bit of a run. And you're the same argument you made with Cleveland going to Baltimore, divisional opponent. Say the same exact thing with the Rams going to San Fran. And who knows? They could lose tomorrow. They're a 4-point dog tomorrow, 3-point dog tomorrow, whatever they are.
3 in Detroit.
But the thing that scares me is everyone seems to like the Rams, and that usually doesn't, pay off too well. So that's a concern. But I don't know.
Yeah, it's one of those things where people don't like taking what everyone in the public is taking, but sometimes you just got to go with what you. And I love how they match up. And obviously, it's a cool story too. Stafford going back to Detroit. He obviously has 2 stud receivers. Kyron's been unreal in the backfield. McVay's run schemes are crazy. Like McVay is so good. If they win into San Fran next week, I guarantee you that's a game. I'm not saying they're going to win, but I bet it's a 1-possession game. Probably 100%. San Fran -7 or something next week. But looking at potential matchups, I'd like to see. I know Philly's struggling right now, but I'd like to see Philly, Dallas. I'd like to see San Fran, LA. I'd like to see Baltimore, Cleveland, and I'd like to see the Chiefs go to Buffalo. I know we want to be at Arrowhead, no doubt, but I'd love to see Patrick Mahomes and these dudes go on the road as a dog, really with nothing to lose. I know they've won a ton of big games lately. They've won 2 of the last 3 Super Bowls, but I feel like they kind of would go into Buffalo with house money. I know it would be like annoying if Mahomes lost his first road game and people would be like, I told you, like he finally played a road playoff game. He's 0-1, but there's no way that wouldn't be a game. Like
the thing that's annoying to me with that argument though is like, well, it's not like he was given the 1 seed. He fucking awesome all year and earned the 1 seed every other year, and that's why he gets home playoff games. It's not like he's getting lucky as a 5 seed and everyone else.
Well, and we've been the 2 also.
Yeah,
like teams have had. I'm just saying, teams have had chances to have home field advantage throughout the playoffs. Baltimore lost, Tennessee lost. So as 2 seeds, they've still hosted the AFC title game. You can't control what other teams do or where you play. Like you just whatever. You can only control certain things, like I said. So I think tonight could be a tight game against Miami. I know it's going to be freezing cold. I'll be out there. I don't know why I'm going, but say your prayers. I know people are talking about. Oh damn!
Sorry.
At A&M, I know people are talking about Tua not being able to throw it, but those 2 running backs still worry me plenty. Achane is a dog. And Mostert's obviously a stud too. They got 2 good receivers. So we'll see. I think it's going to be a battle. Just a little nervous because it feels like people are already handing the Chiefs the win. Like even media people, like Miami can't handle the cold. They're banged up. They don't want to be there. They just blew the division lead to Buffalo in historic fat. Like, I don't know. I'm a little nervous. I just think it's going to be a tight game with how we've been playing. I know the Chiefs have had a tough time putting teams away. They've lost 4 games at home where they haven't given up more than 21 points. So I still feel fine about them winning, but I do think it's going to be a super tight game.
Yeah, I do too. And so Mostert and Waddle, are they playing for sure?
I don't know. Mike McDaniel said early in the week that he's optimistic both play. I haven't really looked today, but I would assume those 2 are going to go if they're slightly even close to 80-90%. But Achane terrifies me.
He does, and even though the Chiefs' defense has been awesome this year, it's something about a good running game going against them that always freaks me out.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Getting the stuffs when you need. I don't know. Miami's on short week, and I know all their guys are coming back, and even Tyreek's been banged up, but
Waddle too, obviously.
You don't want to get hit in the cold regardless, but you really don't want to be hit in the cold when you're banged up or you have like muscle injuries. The Tyreek quad that randomly popped up this week, and then he was in a walking boot when his house was on fire last week, which is scary. Hopefully everyone's okay. But yeah, dude, I know everyone's all over it, but it feels like a game the Chiefs win somewhat comfortably.
I don't think we've really talked about this, but do you think the Chiefs can... What?
Sorry, go ahead.
You can go ahead if it's important.
If it's 4th and 3 and you're at midfield, what do you do?
Punt it.
Okay, well, I guess we're in a different boat. that's all they did. They punted. I would have gone for it. But
Who?
Houston.
Oh, wow. I was going to ask you, and I've been saying this for months, honestly. Like, I think this Chiefs team gets a little complacent or almost bored during the regular season. You play in all these AFC title games, Super Bowls. Do you think they can just flip the switch, which they kind of usually do once January hits, and start playing their best ball? And do you think Andy's kind of been holding stuff back playbook wise? Like, we talk about that all the time. Andy's so good that he can get through the regular season winning 11 games, and Chiefs fans are still bitching and complaining about how we don't look good, but they just won the division again and won 11 games. So do you think they can flip the switch, and do you think Andy's been holding some things back?
I'm not sure on the flip switch thing. I'd like to think so, but I don't know. Like, I agree that they probably struggle to get up for some of these regular season games after all the playoff games that they've played over the last few years. But at the same time, you see Mahomes, you see Kelsey on the sideline, like, genuinely upset sometimes. And they kind of just look like two dudes that care a lot about winning that game or that individual play or whatever it may be. So I'm hoping there's a switch that they can flip. I think Andy will definitely flip that in terms of play calling and, all the goods. He'll be in his bag like always. But yeah, I mean, even the amount of snaps, like, Kelsey's going to play almost every snap tonight. Kelsey's going to get more targets or plays to him, even though, in week 14, he may have only had 2 catches for 14 yards or whatever it may have been. Like, I think they've been building towards this. I don't know if they're just simply going to care more, but that's because they seem to care a hell of a lot already, just based on throwing helmets and screaming at dudes or screaming at themselves, whatever it may be. They're just competitive guys. But it's not in a bad way, because, I can tell you right now that Mahomes and Kelsey are going to care more than anyone out there in the field tonight. And
no
that's
question.
just nice to have. So
And
they're protecting a legacy. They can't go out in the first round. We haven't seen the Chiefs not go to the conference championship game since 2017, 18, whatever that was, when Mariota threw a touchdown to himself.
Can you pin the last comment?
Mm-hmm.
Matt, I still kind of have some free tickets rolling in here and there. So if you have Twitter or whatever, you can drop your handle in the comments and I can try to get you some. I don't know if they'll be lower level, but I was going to tweet something out here in a second that I will be down there, and I'm assuming it's not a full house. So I was going to let people know that if there's seats down by me or if there's seats down there at all, I was going to let people know to come down. It's obviously going to be even colder up in the upper level, which, oh my God, I can't imagine. So yeah, I'm trying to get more tickets. I just got one more in the upper level. So if anyone in the comments needs a ticket for the Chiefs game tonight, let me know. No charge, free. I don't care. I just want Chiefs fans to be there because Arrowhead, biggest home field advantage in the world. And we need as many people there as possible. So if people want to go for free, I know it's tough to spend money to go sit in -30, but maybe for free. I don't know if you have more NFL stuff to talk about, but obviously if the Chiefs win or whatever, we'll probably be back next week and talk some NFL. Maybe at Buffalo. I guess if Pittsburgh wins, I know that game just got rescheduled, which is wild, and I think that really benefits Buffalo because I don't think they would have been able to throw it at all tomorrow. So
I disagree. It benefits Buffalo for this weekend, yes. But we're locked into having 2 extra days of rest ahead of them if it's Chiefs Bills. So I think, I think this week probably helps them. They get an extra day after playing. And the Steelers, too. The Steelers played last Saturday, so they're going to have a couple days there. 36 extra hours of rest. I don't think that anyone really has much hope that the Steelers can win, but let me just remind you, it's the same Bills team that everyone claims is the hottest team in football that, yeah, they beat Miami. Yeah, they smoked Dallas. Yeah, they beat us. When they have all these big wins, but let me remind you guys of these. A couple weeks ago, they played New England in Buffalo at home. They were up 4-0 in the turnover battle in the first half. They still only won that game by 6 against the Patriots, who were awful, so bad that Bill Belichick got fired. And then in LA, 3 or 4 weeks ago on that Saturday night on Peacock that no one watched, they were in a battle against one of the Chargers with whoever the fuck was starting in quarterback, Easton Stick.
The Bills.
They were in a battle against the Chargers. The Bills, they still they're not as I will stand by this.
The
Everyone
hype
is
has gotten a
crowning
little
them.
too crazy.
It's gotten crazy, and I don't want to be too Nick right here. It's been crazy since Josh Allen became good. Like, this has never been a team that is, to me, a true Super Bowl contender, but they look hot for a couple weeks. It's it's the biggest roller coaster in sports right now. It's Josh Allen. And last
He's a
week,
great
he
player.
threw for 350 yards. He's awesome. He makes game-changing plays. There are 3 or 4 times every single week where you're going to look back and be like, "Ooh, I don't know about that one, Josh," where he's throwing it up in the air on 4th down or 3rd and goal
It's
when
crazy.
they had a field goal and he throws a pick, or the playoffs. I know he was a rookie or second year. He was real young when he was playing at Houston and he had that lateral like over his head behind his back. Like, that's just who he is. So I'm never going to watch it or go into a Buffalo Bills game thinking there's a 100% chance they win or even feel confident they win. Like, I'm sure there are people out there throwing the Bills money line in like a big parlay to try and like get some easy wins and add some juice. Would you be surprised if Pittsburgh won like 10-7?
No. I think 10 points is a lot against a Tomlin team. He's probably rock hard thinking about this weather. He loves it ugly. It's going to be a run fest, really, if the weather forecast stays like it is, windy and super cold. Like the Bills hype has gotten crazy. I know Stephon Diggs is an awesome receiver. He's really struggled lately until the Miami game. Gabe Davis is out. I know he's kind of hit or miss. He'll have weeks where he has 0 yards. Their defense has been pretty banged up all year. I know they got Rasul Douglas, but he left the Miami game hurt. So we're going to go to Buffalo, and I feel like that's going to be such a trendy pick where the media is picking the Bills because they're on fire. They've won so many games in a row. People are going to be doubting the Chiefs, but there's no way Buffalo is going to dominate this Chiefs team. Their defense is too good. Probably should have beat them at home if one of our receivers lines up correctly. So, yeah, that's what really will affect me is, Chiefs should have been the 2 seed. They blew the Lions game. They lost to a quarterback that didn't complete a pass for 3 quarters. So they should have been the 2. And if they win this week, obviously would be at home next week no matter what. So that is kind of frustrating, but
hey, there's no better. Obviously, it would suck to lose in Buffalo, but if they win that game, I think that seriously shuts up like the Josh Allen talk for a little bit, which would be fine by me. He's great. He's nowhere near.
He's great.
He's nowhere near Mahomes in my mind. And I know, like, this year, sure, but like the conversation hasn't really even been a thing this year. It's more been in the past. Like, I don't know. I guess we'll see. I don't want to say too much and sound like an idiot, but plus we got to get off because Houston's at the 2-yard line right now. So
CJ's so good. He's going to be. He could end up being one of he could end up being the best QB in the league. I really think that. Like, that good. That well prepared.
Some bad takes about CJ Stroud from about a year ago that I hope don't find some publicity because they're worse than when I said KU is going to win by 24 or whatever against K-State 3 or 4 years ago.
I tweeted a month ago that, and I'll probably just bring it on Twitter if they go on a deep run, but I literally tweeted like the Buffalo Bills run is over. Like, they're never going to win anything, pretty much along those lines. And now they haven't lost a game since, I don't think. And they're the 2 seed. They have a chance to go to the Super Bowl for sure. But if that one gets brought back up, I'm in trouble.
All right, guy. We can get off.
Big win today. Beat a top 10 team in Allen Fieldhouse. We got 2 tough road games coming up this week at Oklahoma State, at West Virginia. Hawks have some incredible wins this year. Go Chiefs. Rock Chalk. Subscribe, please. Love you guys. Thanks for being in the chat. Rock Chalk. We will see you soon.